Thanks for watching Esports Monies. Subscribe and enable notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss any of this questionable content.
And if you hit the like button, I'll probably get more views or something, so go on and do that too, I guess. Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Esports Monies, ESM, Mac10, whatever you want to call me, and welcome to my guide to jungling Doom in patch 7.07c. So, Doom is not the best of junglers. In fact, I'm going to say straight up at the start of this guide, I do not recommend jungling him at the moment, and I say at the moment because Doom is a hero that's naturally kind of set up for the jungle, and he's pretty tanky. He's not a hero that fears for his life when he's in the jungle, but he's a hero that is not the best at jungling, and he's not the best at jungling because he doesn't kill things quickly enough. So you can accelerate this guide by 30 seconds, 40 seconds if you don't grab the Ring of Protection that I just grabbed, and you can accelerate it further if you grab lots of bounty runes. I do my best not to grab a lot of bounty runes. I think I only grabbed 1 or 2 in this video, and I do get what I would consider a pretty late hand of Midas, but we'll get into the details of that. So, first thing you're going to want to do is consider blocking the creep wave at the bottom lane because you have a full minute where you have nothing to do before your jungle begins. I'm waiting to see what creeps spawn because I'm preferring to get an alpha wolf over any other creep, and the reason being is because the alpha wolf gives me a lot of damage and helps out with that issue I was talking about with killing creeps quickly enough. Now the second preference I have here is going to be the Frost Ogre, and the reason being is because the plus 10 armor from Frost Armor is massive. So, speaking of armor, you're probably wondering why I went and grabbed a Ring of Protection early on. So, armor doesn't work in a way where it stacks linearly. It stacks in a curve. And this makes sense if you think about it, because at 0 armor, you have 0 physical resist. At 2 armor, you have 10 or 12% physical resist. So if you think about it, that would mean if you had 10 armor, you would have 50% physical resist, or at 20 armor, you'd have 100% physical resistance, and you would take no damage from physical attacks. So it obviously can't stack in a linear fashion. This means that at 0 armor, the closer you are to 0, the more weight armor or negative armor carries. So by adding plus 2 armor for Doom, who naturally has 0 armor, I suddenly gain a 10% damage reduction, which is pretty big. Now, I will say you can go ahead and skip this, ignore this, if you know that you have a Frost Camp. So let's say you start out and you aren't able to get the level 1 bounty, and you don't have the money for your Ring of Protection, and you see that the first creep camp that spawns is Frost Ogres, and you grab the Frost Ogre and you add 10 armor anyway, then you don't care, because 12 armor is not really that different from 10 armor, but 2 armor is pretty different from 0 armor. I think armor is something that should be a focus of any Doom player. It should be something you're thinking about a lot, because you naturally are one of the tankiest heroes in the game. The thing is, you just don't have any armor. Think about those same limitations that Tiny has as a hero. Now, as far as your skill build goes, you're obviously going to get your Q at level 1. Devour is a very good spell. And then from there, most people are going to choose to max Devour. I would also recommend maxing Devour because you're going for a pretty greedy build. And do remember that you have a counter on Devour. So once you hit level 3 with Devour, you're going to want to hit or right-click the enemy creeps a couple of times before you eat them, because that way they'll devour more quickly, and you can use the spell again more quickly, and you'll also get more health from it, or you'll get your money, the bonus gold for devouring the unit more quickly. So now you see I have the Alpha Wolf creep. I'm doing way more damage than I was before. Again, the Ring of Protection is kind of optional. I've tried jungling him multiple times to make sure that the long time was not a fluke, but it does take him a lot longer to jungle than most heroes. Again, you can trim this down if you get bounty runes or you don't get the level 1 Ring of Protection, but that's up to you. I would say you kind of want the Ring of Protection because it makes you a little more insulated to attacks. Now, as far as overall skill build goes, I'm going to say max your Q first, max your W second, but as soon as you leave the jungle, which should be, I think 10 minutes is usually the maximum in the most exaggerated cases that you want to stay in the jungle, except for 1 or 2 heroes, not LC. But when you leave the jungle, you want to grab a single pointed Infernal Blade because it has that Bash mini stun, which is really good for canceling TPs, and it's just an overall really good ability for what it does, especially considering it only costs 40 mana. So Infernal Blade is something you're going to want to grab before you leave the jungle. As far as talents are concerned, At level 10, you have a choice between plus 25 movement speed or plus damage, plus 10 damage and heal on Scorched Earth. It's up to you. It really is up to you on this one, but let's talk about Scorched Earth a little bit. So you would be moving your damage and healing from 40 and 30 to 50 and 40. So it's a pretty noticeable buff, but 25 movement speed is also pretty big because Doom is not the fastest of moving heroes. At level 15, you have a choice between 150 Devour bonus gold and 20% evasion. If you are going to be your hard carry, if you're having trouble with physical attacks, go for the evasion, otherwise go for the Devour gold. You've already maxed Devour anyway, and this is going to put you at a cooldown of 40 seconds, which naturally gives you 100 gold, so this would give you an additional 150 gold every 40 seconds. We have to add another third to that, so a third of 150 is 50. So this, if you use this 100% optimally, this is 200 gold per minute. That's a huge number. 200 gold per minute if you're 100% efficient, and if you're not 100% efficient, let's assume that you're getting at least 1 use per minute, so that is a lovely bonus of 150 per minute. So again, this is huge, but 20% evasion is also huge. Level 20, Devour can target Ancients or plus 40 Doom DPS. Now remember, Doom's DPS is actually pure damage. So that takes the DPS from 55 to 95, which takes the total from 880 to 1520. So this is largely up to you. I would say typically you're going to want to go with the Doom DPS, because Ancients is all well and good, but I think the Doom DPS is better. However, do remember that you can make yourself super tanky with the Golem aura if you go for the Ancients. At level 25, you have a choice between 100% cleave and 3% Infernal Blade damage. If you're doing a huge amount of right-click damage and you're teamfight centric, get the cleave. Otherwise, go for the Infernal Blade. If you don't have a lot of farm, go for the cleave as well. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.